picture. It's really only good for your phone. So as soon as this intro video start, I'm gonna start the show. This way, if people who are on Instagram, people who are on YouTube and Facebook can still be in the conversation through me. But if you want to join the conversation directly, all right, welcome on my people on YouTube, my people on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Welcome. You are part of the Instagram show. And our topic today is the real self versus ideal self. And I didn't think this through about putting I forgot that I was going to be streaming live here, so I can't really play stuff from here because it'll be an echo, but I don't know, we'll see. I wanted to play some stuff live that y'all could hear and start the conversation that way, okay, instead of the questions I normally started. Plus, you know what, let me send this out to some people that may not know I'm live yet. So let's do that first. Let's send the live out to people who might want to join. How about that? So like I said, if y'all want to join the conversation live with me, it's on Instagram. That's the only way you can be live on this show, Instagram. Other than that, you can comment on my other channels, and I will read your comments to the Instagram family. Right now, I am just sharing my lives with people to see if they are going to join. That is what I'm doing now to try to get more people to join up in here. So, ideal self versus real self. Why? Why do we do this, y'all? Why don't we share our real self? Why don't we? Why don't we share our real self? Now, before I go any further to give Zoe his propers, is this idea show came from Zoe Williams. He had a show last night called The Real Self versus the Ideal Self. I wrote some notes that he talked about in that show. And basically, to set the tone, I asked one of the questions that he asked. How do we sabotage our full potential? How do we sabotage our full potential? By not being in alignment with the truth of who we are. That statement blew my mind. How do we sabotage our full potential? This is what he said. By not being in alignment with the truth of who we are. Once we are in alignment with the truth of who we are, then we'll find our ideal mate. This is what he said. Now, hearing these things to me is like, okay, so being your complete self, being the good, the bad, everything of who you are, and whoever you attract at that time that you're being yourself, that's the ideal mate for you at that time. What does that just blew my mind. I don't know if anybody else had any opinion about it, but that blew my mind. If anybody else has an opinion, right now I'm sharing, so that's why I can't see anybody's opinion. Okay. Hey, Miss Ebony. Come up here and talk to me about this. Now, I know that in the beginning, when you first meet somebody, you are your ideal self. Now, what happens sometimes when we are our ideal self in relationship? Oh, you still working? It's okay, Miss. It's okay, Chris. Um, it's okay. It's your work. I'm working all the time too. But thanks for even being in the chat. So, how do we sabotage? I think we talked about this before. We sabotage by having an expectation about what it's supposed to be, and then when it doesn't turn out that way, all of a sudden we want something different, right? So that could be a way as well of what he was talking about. I wanted to share his words because a lot of times when I hear him talk, that's when sometimes I'll have an opinion and it'll go off of whatever he just said. I used to listen to his podcast and then talk in between the shows. But, right now I am trying this out. I'm trying this out of me just talking about a subject, even though I got the idea from Zoe. Thank you, Zoe. Of the topic. Now, this is, I guess it should be, let's see, another statement. How do you define your ideal self? Thanks, Chris. How do you define your ideal self? My ideal self is something that I probably project is I want people to see me as someone who is kind, someone who they can talk to, someone who they can share with, someone who they can tell their deepest, darkest secrets with, someone who will back you up no matter what. That's how I want people to see me. But someone who will tell you the truth. That's how I want people to see me. Someone who will tell you what's on their mind at the time. You know what I'm saying? I know sometimes people don't like to hear what's on my mind at the time, what I'm thinking about you. But hey, I don't know. I guess the ideal self could be someone who is not aggressive. Yes, okay. Someone who's not aggressive talking, who is an excellent communicator. This is my ideal self. An excellent communicator, someone who can talk with ease and confidence and wit and not lose their train of thought like I just did. My ideal self. Someone who's soft, someone who's not hard on things. My ideal self. Yes, that is my ideal self. Now, what I really am, I don't know if I should just be saying what I really am. What this is supposed to be about. Oh, hey, CKQ. I guess I could talk about, I talked about what the ideal self was. CKQ, come tell me what is your definition of your ideal self? Ah, new spot. We trying a new spot.
Hey, what's going on? You hear me?
Yeah.
I just came from Bible study or men's group in the Bible study. So I would have.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey,
Oh, okay.
talk to me. What's going on?
That's nice. Did you have fun at Bible study? No.
I did. It was our men's group, so we're just chatting, building each other up as men. That's what we have to do.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, the topic that I was supposed to do last week, I just curbed it since I couldn't come. And I'm doing a topic that I got from Zoe yesterday. I was listening to his show yesterday, and he was doing the real self versus the ideal self.
Real self versus ideal self. Interesting. What does that mean?
In relationships, we kind of put up our ideal self first. That's what I was thinking. He was saying we kind of put out and project our ideal self. That's hard to say when my mouth is hurting. I got a loose. I mean, my tooth came out yesterday. What the question? Answer the question that Chris put in there. Define your ideal self.
Well, I see the mighty duo, but I think that was probably an older question. But what do you mean by what's my ideal self? Okay, so I guess who I perceive myself as, is that my ideal self?
Your ideal self of how people perceive you, I guess. The ideal way that you want people to perceive you. Your ideal self.
Okay. How would I want people to perceive me? Well, I guess
versus how they really perceive you. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I guess how I'd want them to perceive me would be, my pronouns would be they and them. All right.
You ain't getting me with the pronouns. That's John. That ain't me. I love them. No, I'm just playing. I don't want my children to be calling them different pronouns, but I'm okay with those people that do that.
Well, I identify as Michael Jackson. My pronouns would be he. Okay.
My ideal self is soft, not aggressive, a great communicator, someone who's patient at talking and waiting their turn. My ideal self, how I want people to see me. I'm laid back, calm, cool, collective, nothing bothers me. That's my ideal self. Or even people knowing that I will help them no matter what is my ideal self. I want people to know that I will have your back, or I will help you. I'm the first one to give out and find things for people. Like, that's how my ideal self. That's one of them. That's like all of those things.
Okay. I get what you mean by ideal self now. So what's your real self?
No. We doing your ideal self first before we go to our real self.
Before we spill the beans. Fair enough. So my ideal self, I would like people to see me as responsible and reliable. My ideal self, yes, I'd like to be seen as responsible, reliable. I'd like to be seen as a man that can be called upon to get any situation taken care of, and I'm able to figure it out and take care of it for people. I definitely like my ideal self is, I'd like to be more selfless and, help a lot more than I do.
Okay, let me narrow it down a little bit. Just in relationships.
Okay.
When you're meeting somebody, your ideal self.
Okay.
What is that?
When we're meeting or in the relationship already? Just off the bat? First meeting?
I guess first meeting. I guess first meeting. Ideal self. First meeting.
my ideal self, the person I would like to be, is definitely far more compassionate than I know I am. So my ideal self would be someone that if a chick is crying, I could definitely give her a hug instead of maybe like a pat on the back, you know? like,
A pat on the back?
yeah, well, pat on the back is a little too intimate, so I'd probably give him like a handshake, you know?
Or a bump, a fist bump. You got this.
There you go, see? Or high five, like, hey, you know? Yeah, no. My ideal self is far more, I would love to be more compassionate. Far more compassionate than, that would
AJ. Mm-hmm.
You got everyone in here. I would say that would be my ideal self, the person I would really love to be, just a more compassionate person.
Okay. So he also said something about how we sabotage ourselves in relationship.
Okay.
And it kind of blew me away when he said it, so I had to write it down. He kind of set the tone in the beginning of the show. He was like, how do we sabotage ourselves? He says, our full potential, we sabotage, okay, how do we sabotage our full potential in relationships? By not being in alignment with the truth of who we are. So a lot of times, oh, hey. The full potential that we have to be in this relationship that we're in, that we're potentially supposed to be in or we're in, we sabotage it by not being our true selves. Because in the beginning, it's that representative, it's that ideal self.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like, yes, I remember
that. Let me ask you, do you think there's ever a moment where you can meet someone and just snap into who you are right off the bat, or do you think it takes practice with multiple people?
I don't think anyone is their real self with anybody that they meet, even if it's not in a relationship. Really? When you first meet somebody, I don't think anybody is a real self. It's hard to be like that. I think that does take practice. Do you think it takes practice as in like you need to be in relationships, or do you think, because I'm starting to realize or I'm trying to move a little bit more this way in my life, which is just move how I naturally want to move through my daily life. So that even if in a first time meeting or a relationship, it's still going to be the same way. You know what I'm saying? Because this is who I am, take it or leave it kind of thing. You know, this person is who I am. There's no point in putting up the facade, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not to say that I can't grow, not to say that I can't change or become a better person, but to always put on that facade, now you run the... Look, Chris. Mm-hmm. No, that's not. No, my friend Chris. That's a different Chris.
No worries. To always put on that facade, now you run the risk of having to portray a false image the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Chris is still working, so she has to put a whole paragraph in here. Before I started dating again, I will, Chris. I did an introspection activity that compared my ideal self with who was at the moment, with who I was at the moment, she probably wanted to say. It helped me be more humble and choose a person for who I was and not for who I wanted to be. Okay. So that's what I mean. I think that's what he was trying to say. Is like, we're going to always kind of sabotage our relationships and being at our full potential at our relationships because we are not who we are when we meet that person right off the bat. And like you asked before, do you think that's something that you can, practice? I feel like if it's something that you actually want to learn, what's up, my brothers in the chat room? What's up? And on Facebook, on YouTube. So I feel like if you
are making the conscious effort, like what you said before, to be more compassionate because you want to be? Is this something that's natural that you want to be, or is this something is because of a result that you might get at the end?
No, I think it'll allow me to. It wouldn't just be beneficial towards my relationship. It'll be beneficial. Actually, it'll be beneficial towards my relationships, not just with my partner, companion, wife, girlfriend, blah, 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 but everyone else in my life in general. I think compassion is a very good trait to have. And especially as a guy growing up, you're told so much that, you got to be stoic, you got to be a rock, you got to be,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't think compassion is something that can be paired with that. But a mark of a true masculine man is knowing and understanding and being compassionate. Knowing when to turn that dial whichever way you want it to go, not just keep stuck on one side. The true masculine man is in control of all of his emotions, and is aware of what it is that he's actually feeling and how to articulate it. So
being mindful. So being mindful is how you practice being compassionate.
Yeah.
So every time, I guess, when you're in certain situations, being mindful and trying to recognize the situation and if it calls for compassion at that time. Mm-hmm. So by practicing that, yes, you can develop it naturally. And that's what behaviorists do with autistic children. They kind of put them in certain situations that you want them to react in a certain way. So you give them certain situations, you make them react in that way, and then you take them out into the world and do the same thing, and then they'll naturally do that from now on. And to me, you can do that not with just autistic people, you can do that with everybody. So, say it again. Okay, there you go. I thought.
And I said that's fair. Like, I mean, if anything, working with autistic kids will give you the best kind of result because it's instantaneous. They don't have the ego thing that you have to get past. They don't have any kind of walls or previous trauma or anything like that. They just hear it and do it.
Well, not necessarily.
Really?
If you're starting when you're very young, then maybe. But autistic children have trauma too, and sometimes the trauma has to deal with treatment. Sometimes treatment can give them trauma. And sometimes forcing something can give them trauma. So they can. So like when you're doing it, like when we are doing our behavior plan, we have to weigh the bad with the good. And if the good outweigh the bad, then we can do that treatment. But if it don't, then we can't. So that's
like it with them.
So but yeah, you're right about the ego part, because some autistic, depends on what spectrum they're on, because if they're on a higher spectrum, they know ego. You know what I'm saying? They'll exhibit that or exert that. Yeah. But anyway, we're getting off the subject again. How we do? Your ideal self. People put some stuff in there about your ideal self. Tell me what your ideal self in relationship is. How you want people to perceive you as your ideal self. Thank you, Chris, for participating. So, so I want to say we have something from Facebook. It said, Damani says it would be trained behavior, sort of like muscle memory. He just wanted me to say that. He just wanted me to say that on here. All right, brother. That's an inside family joke, right?
See that?
Okay. So but you know how when you're working out and your muscles have memory, so they call that, So that's what. But anyway, also I was moving on. Okay, your ideal mate, yes. but you cannot become your I cannot listen. I cannot be your ideal mate until I become my real self. And now, okay, I was saying now you're circling. Did you hear what I said? You good now?
No, repeat that again. I'm sorry about that.
All right.
Yeah, sorry.
I cannot. This is a statement he said on that show. I cannot be my ideal mate to someone until I become my real self. True? Not true?
Not true.
Why?
True. Because there is growing with someone. If you become your real self, I mean, either way, you're still going to have to learn to grow with someone. Even if you are your real self, when you get with someone else, both of you are going to have to grow together. You're going to have to shift and change and mold to grow with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your real self is your real self as a single person, but once you're building a life with someone, you guys are becoming one. You guys are truly merging your lives together. Different habits, different quirks, all that's going to be shifting. You're going to like some things that you never thought you'd like, and you're going to hate some things that you loved a lot. So I don't necessarily agree with you have to become your ideal, your real self for the relationship to work out. I think you can grow into who your real self is during the course of your relationship. That is, if it is a healthy relationship in which you guys are open. I think openness allows you to become your real self. You can be your ideal self, but if it is an open relationship, open communication relationship, slowly those walls are going to be broken down, and slowly you guys are going to learn to be able to work on each other and compliment each other. And I guess not be so overly critical of each other. That's probably what kills a lot of relationships, because you're so overly critical of the smallest, minute things when you haven't really looked in the mirror and noticed that you're not perfect either. You know what I'm saying? So I think if anything, becoming who you really are might make you a little bit more judgmental towards the other person, because you now see yourself as, I am who I am. I'm this perfect thing,
Bloomer Ebony said you have to accept your real self so you have room to grow. So I seen some people, new people coming in. Please hit some hearts for me as you coming in or going out or anything like that. This is your ideal self versus your real self, like in relationships. That's what we're talking about. And I was like, I made a statement. I cannot be your ideal mate until I become my real self. I agree, of course. What made me and what this statement made me think of so many other things other than what you said. When I heard that statement, it just made me think, okay, some of the things you said about changing and growing and becoming a different person and growing up as you get older, right? That's going to happen automatically. That's normal. People grow and change and stuff. People do be stagnant, but people in a normal person grow and change, right? And whoever you are at that time, that's who you're going to attract. That's your ideal mate, whoever you are. Whoever you are within yourself, whatever issues you have, whatever problems you have, whatever good things you have, that's who you're going to attract. And that's who your ideal person is at the time. That's what my brain went to. And it was like, okay, well, if that's the case, how do people who meet each other in high school stay together all that time?
Good question. Very good question. And okay, so now let me just throw this back on you. Do you think that
Hey, Shani. Sorry. Go ahead.
because we were saying something and I was like, ooh, that just sparked a good question. Do you think that your partner can help you realize your real self?
No, absolutely not.
Why?
And when you was talking, I just remembered the question I wanted to ask you when you said that. Okay. So, do you think that the way that I experience you, do you really think you can experience that in the same way that I do?
Could I experience myself the same way you experience me? No. No, because I always have my own preconceived notions about myself. I'll always be thinking
Oh,
about
you was cutting up. You was cutting up. Oh. Nope. You're going to have to say this over again, so I'm going to stop you. You circling. So, for the people who could still hear me, you heard what he said. The answer was no. Could he experience me? Right now, we cannot hear you. So, we can't see you. We can't hear you. So that's why I'm talking. So if you hear me talking over you, that's the reason why I'm talking over you, is because we can't hear you or see you. You're circling. But anyway, he said no.
You're still going to have, you're still only going to have as real as I can.
Maybe you're going to have to come back. Because that don't sound good. You're going to have to come back. Miss Chris, please request when you finish working. So he said no. Come back, Clement, and answer the question. The reason why I asked him that question, could he ever experience him the way I experience him? And he said no. And this is exactly the reason why, here you go, Boom at me, I see ya. This is the reason why your mate cannot help you grow.
Hi.
We got Chris from Bloom and Ebony joining us. I hope Clement comes back.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, okay. Okay, Sonny. Here you go. He was doing so good.
Yeah, and I was considering calling in sooner, but I think sometimes I wasn't sure if his internet messes up when more people are on. So let me just not call in. But it looks like it just kind of goes in and out.
No, it's just doing that. Hey, Clement. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Hey, Chris, you got your camera on?
Yeah, I'm still working. My
phone
is flat.
Okay, no problem. So, he's freezing up again. What I was saying, I want you to answer that question. Oh, man. What I was saying was he answered no. He answered no for a reason, because when he was talking about how your partner can help you grow, that is the very reason why your partner cannot help you grow. Because my partner can't experience how I experience them. They will never know how I see them, how it feels to hear their voice, the sound of it. They will never have experienced that. So they can't help me grow. Only I can help me grow. The only way that person can help me grow is by just being themselves. They can't help me grow in the sense of, you know what, baby? You're not compassionate enough. So you know what? We're going to try these exercises. And when I'm crying, I need you to do this for me. Mm-mm. That ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen. It has to be
Why not?
natural. If this is something that he wants to do for her, this is something that he has to seek. This is something that he has to want to learn. This is something that he has to find out on his own to learn. Not something that she can tell him to learn.
Oh, I see. But do you
You know what I'm saying? Like she can't lead him into that because nobody can experience the things that I'm experiencing but me. So only I can filter the information that is coming to me the way it is. Nobody can filter it the way I can because the filter that I'm using is a whole lot of the trauma that I've been through. So nobody can help me grow. The only way the other person can help me grow is by being in a relationship with them and them being their real self. Because when they are their real self, then I have all the things, then I filter all of the things that they're saying to me through the things that I've been through, and I can use that to help myself grow up. So how I react to them, I can use that to say, hey, why did I react that way to them? Like you helped me, Chris. You helped me when I had a bad reaction and I talked to you and you said, well, what if you just said to yourself that was not you? You remember when you said that to me?
I don't remember what I said, but I remember us talking.
It's okay. It's okay.
I have the worst memory ever, but I do remember us talking, yes.
No. You really helped me. You opened my eyes when you said that. It was like, yes, I don't have to claim that. Why do I claim that? That doesn't have to bother me.
Oh, okay, yes.
But it was me that had to change that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It was me that had to change that with my reaction to her and whoever else act that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I changed me, not necessarily that person guiding me to how they want things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? How they want me to act. No, I have to be me. I have to be natural. It has to be real, else it won't stick. You know what I'm saying?
I do think, however, I do think the other person can motivate you to grow. Though, like I do think that we have certain limitations, and I do think that sometimes the fact that you really care about that person, when they want to see something different, I do think that helps you realize a limitation or a weakness that you have, and it motivates you to grow. So yeah, you do have to make a decision for yourself to change it, but I do think that simply being in a relationship that you enjoy being in can be enough motivation to push you past just who you think you are in that moment and help you kind of reach a fuller potential. Like a lot of times, a lot of men would say, and men are easier because
I know, CK.
like measurable, I guess, with money. But a lot of times men will say, like, when I was working, I was only working just enough for me. But once I got a wife and I had children, I could have, right?
And that was an internal drive, right?
Well, it's little things. So, like, a way that a wife can guide her husband is by supporting him, thanking him for everything that he's offered her. And that's going to help boost him to work a little bit more, right? If he comes home and she's like, you're never home, I hate that you work so much, he's... But
the initial drive, do you agree the initial drive has to be internal, though? Like, he has to want to do this for his wife from the beginning, else no matter what she say, it won't get him to do anything.
I think it's hard to say what comes first, because if that was true, then he would have been doing it before he met her, right? So it's hard to say, because I do think that men and women were made to complement each other in that way.
Mhm.
Like, I think we're very flawed as human beings, and I do think that when we get into relationships, we try as hard as possible to be less flawed for that other person. And if you weren't in that relationship, I don't think that half the things that you work harder at you would do if you weren't in that relationship. So that's a really hard question to answer, because it's hard
But
to say
the
which
but
one comes first.
even though you're saying that, the drive still has to come from me. Like, I still have to want to be with that person and want to provide for that person
Okay,
internally.
yeah,
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 it's not coming from me initially. Like, I have to like that person and be like, ooh, I want that person on the inside. If I
hmm,
don't, if my motivation is just to get the draws,
yeah,
then it's not gonna sustain no matter what she say. As soon as I get it, I'm not gonna do anything. I'll do whatever I want because my
yeah.
initial was I just wanted to draw. So
I think it's like you draw the line between like a relationship and just meeting somebody. So just meeting somebody, no, I don't think they can have that much of an effect on them. But if you're with somebody and committed to them, I do think they have more of an effect.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. That is a bigger difference. Because if you've been with somebody for a while, then yeah, I guess that could be more of they can have a little bit more influence. But I still feel like even when we're working with autistic children, it still has to the ones the habits that they keep are the ones that sparked within them first. Like a lot of the autistic, yeah, you can train them to do certain things. You can train them with certain things that we have, different tricks you can do, right? But you always want that organic internal drive motivation. That's the one that sticks longer than anything. And I
Yeah.
feel like in relationship that's where it should come from if you want it to last. That's where it should come from. Um, Also, we did talk about our ideal self, and we didn't really talk about like what our real self versus our real self. Like, our ideal self says, um, I want this expectation. My ideal self says, well, because I've been through this abusive relationship, now I'm going to pick all the men I pick are going to be so in love with their mom that because they're in love with their mom, then I know they will never do anything like that to me. Like, some people will rationalize it that way. They will go so
Yeah.
far to the left and have that expectation, like, okay, if I pick this person, then they will never do these things to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the filter that we use sometimes to pick our relationship. Have you understand what I'm saying, or have you experienced that,
Yes.
or know of anybody?
Yeah, I heard that when I started doing these panels. I had never heard someone say that before, but I was on a panel and this woman she said, the first question I'll ask him on a date is about his relationship with his mom. And if it's a bad relationship, or if he says he hasn't talked to his mom in months or years, she will just cut him out. And I was so shocked. I did not understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was my first time hearing someone like rationalize that and like actually
Mm-hmm.
say it out loud. So to me, it makes no sense. Like, what if his mom was like beating him from the ages from 5 to 10, right? And you're just like, oh no, screw you, I'm not dating you, because he's just like, I didn't touch my mom, like, she's psycho, So I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I've definitely heard that. And the issue with
Yes.
that is that you could just, it doesn't, it's kind of setting you up for failure. Like, you're putting up all of these weird walls that don't really make any sense. Like, it's like if you don't want someone to hit you from the front, and so you protect yourself on the sides, and it's like you're not doing anything for yourself. You don't really know what the real problem is. You don't really know what you're protecting. The reason why that guy was abusing you wasn't because he had a bad relationship with his mom. And the fact that they're able to connect that, I don't really know if they I don't know why they do it, to be honest. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I hear it a lot since I've been on
So,
these islands.
well, yeah, I mean, I've been in one that was, I guess you would call, if you look on, like, I guess look up like the website, people can go ahead and look it up and let me know. I know they have something where it's like different types of intimate partner violence. Like some stuff normally happens, even though people will be like, oh, I would never do this, I never do that. In certain environments, in certain relationships, there are sometimes small intimate partner violence, like somebody throws something at somebody pushes somebody. You know, not something that happens on a regular basis, but it may happen, and they may have to have an adjustment, and they may have to have some counseling, and it subsides. And that's like stuff like on the verge of helping. And then there's terror, you know, like intimate terror, like people who on the higher spectrum where you have to actually try to hide that person and get away, you know. So there's different levels, because I've been abused on different spectrum, like on the lower of just being in a toxic relationship and always arguing, and even had put hands on each other one time. From to where it was like terror, like, you know, you can't speak to nobody, you can't leave, you know, or like, you know, just that roller coaster. So I've been on that. So I've heard that like in groups, and I've even rationalized it myself of how I've chosen men after that relationship.
What were some?
Because of the relationship that they had with their mom. The person who was being abusive had a very poor relationship with their mom. And so I figured, okay, the next person that I be with has to have some sort of relationship with their mom, or it even has to be excellent in order for me to deal with them, because this person didn't. Because all you looking through is that filter that I was talking about.
Yeah.
At the time, all I'm looking through is, you know what? That's all I'm seeing. As long as they cool with their mom and they not stingy, because last person was, then I'm, you know, we good. We all good. And that is exactly like, sometimes that's how our mind compartmentalizes things. And it's just like, okay, well, this happened, so I'm going to choose this.
So
and it's crazy.
Did you see him interact with his mom and it was negative, and then that's how you made the connection, or did you just know that he didn't talk to his mother?
I know from the stories he's told me of having the different arguments and with his mom, about his mom. He told me that his mom called him all types of names before, but I felt sorry for him at the time. You know, I felt like his mom was really bad, and his mom like gave him up to his grandmother. Like his mom had him and then got me married, and he said started treating him like a stepchild, had all these other children with the new husband, and then sent him to his grandmother's.
Oh.
So he had a real like bad relationship with his mom. And by the time before we broke up, him and his mom started talking again. She even came to visit us. Like I sparked that relationship to happen again, because I wanted them to talk again, because I'm like, that's your mom. And, you know, but because that person became very abusive, you know, I didn't stay with that person. And the next person that I was with, they talk to their mother every day on a daily basis, maybe 2, 3, 4 times a day. That's my husband, y'all. Yeah, he talked to his mother all the time. But now she live with us. He can talk to her anytime she want. But before she lived with us. You know, he would talk to her all the time, and he ain't afraid to say it. He don't care. He know he is mama's boo. Okay. So this is why This is why it took me about 4 years before we got married. We was together for 4 years before we got married. And I was like, you know what? I can trust that no matter what I do, he ain't gonna do nothing to me, because the way he treat his mom, that was just how I rationalized it in my head. That's exactly how I did. I know right now it doesn't make sense, because now I think about, well, what about all the other things? Like, that's all you worried about?
Yeah. Well, your mind was just, it was like.
Oh, wait a minute. Clement said, does that filter have any validity? That's what I'm saying. It don't. But when we are traumatized, that's our filter.
Mm-hmm.
When we are traumatized, that's the filter we use to make the decisions after that. And a lot of times we don't realize it, that we're making the decisions from that filter. We feel like it's a okay expectation to have. Like, it's fine for me to have that type of expectation, because look where I just came from. What else would I pick? You know what I'm saying? That's the rationalization. It's like, you stupid. Why would I pick somebody who doesn't like their mother? Look where I just came from. That was the rationalization. But basically, he also said, you are the expert. You are an expert of your own relationship experience. You are the expert, nobody else. Like, yes, your mate is not the expert, but your mate is, like what you said, can be an influence, but they are not the expert on you. You are. I feel like that's the thing that when you become married, you're trying to become one person, but for real, it's two brains here. You're never going to be one person. You can work as a unit. You can work as a team. I believe in all of that. But you're never going to be one person. I'm never going to see how he sees things. He's never going to see how I see things. Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know.
No, it's true. It's true. But Clement had another question. He said, so
oh, yeah, he did?
accurate.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So it wasn't accurate in any way.
It was faulty. That's how I feel. I feel like it was halfway. I felt like I took it too far to the left or to the right or whatever. I feel like I should have used that experience to look for other traits in a person that might be violent, instead of just one thing. Oh, he didn't like his mother, so that's why he was violent. You see what I'm saying? So that was like my rationalization was faulty. It was, instead of looking at the whole picture of why he was violent, or all the other things that why he was violent, I focused on one thing and took it to the extreme. So it was faulty. That's how I feel. But also, okay, in relationships, I was saying that we are our representatives when we first meet somebody. So why is it so hard to lead with our flaws, you think?
Oh, why is it so hard to lead with our flaws? Because it's hard out there in the streets of dating. You're competing with so many people who are also flawed, but it's hard. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that person can see that you're less flawed than all their other options, because you want to be chosen, and that's for everybody, right? You like this person, you want them to see you and the best of you, right? And I think also it's kind of scary. I think there are lots of flaws that we have that we don't know that we have. And also, I think we put in a lot of work when we first meet somebody. we actually put an effort. And I think typically a lot of our flaws come out when we're kind of being a bit more mindless and involuntary. But when you're being intentional, like when you have a goal in mind, like you want this person to like you, you want them to see the best of you, you're just more mindful of everything that you do, right? You feel like you're on display. It's like, it's really hard to, it's the same feeling you get when you're on stage, right? You don't want to make any mistakes. All of a sudden you kind of pull yourself together and you're ready to go. You just, you want them to see the absolute best. Because you're just being more intentional and more aware that they could see something about you that could make them not pick you, that could make you seem inadequate.
Okay. But if we are going to, let me read some of Clement's stuff. So the answer to what I was saying about my thing was faulty. He said, so that makes sense. You look for the wrong trait to verify. Yeah. Well, I think that was a part of it. I think I should have looked for more. I think I should have looked for more traits. I shouldn't have looked for just how, if he just didn't like his mother, I should have looked for how his mother was with him too. Maybe how she raised him, how she was raised, the environment, how he related to other people, how he related to his other baby mother. He had a child. I should have considered everything other than that. That's what I think. And then he said, say hi to, hey, Bobby. Come join us or come hit the chat. And I'm trying to see what Clement said and I cannot.
I can see it. I can read it out.
Oh, you can see it? Okay, thank you.
So this was him answering the question about the flaws. He said, too vulnerable and knowing that you open up to someone, that when you open up to someone and that you open up to someone and that turn away from you, it will hurt on some level. And if they turn away from you, it will hurt on some level.
Yeah, true. But I feel like if we would lead with our flaws, it would cut out a whole lot of waste of time. It would cut out
if we led.
Don't you think it would cut out a waste of time?
Yeah, you'd be single. We all be single.
No, I don't think we would be single because there's some people who might be okay with your flaws.
But
this is what I'm trying to say. Like, these are the people who you should be looking for. The people that's okay with your flaws, because that's you.
What flaws do you put out on a first date, though? Like, do you show up late?
Right? Well, if that's one of your flaws, you already gonna show up late. So I'm just saying, like, it's hard. It's hard to do because that's not the normal human thing to do.
So I guess
go ahead.
Would you do that in an interview? So if we can apply that to dating, will we also apply that to workplace? Like when you're in an interview, if they ask you what your weaknesses are, do you really tell them what your weaknesses are? No. Do you deviate from I'm too perfect? And
no, not at work. No, you're trying to get a job.
Exactly. It's the same thing in a relationship. You're trying to get a job.
No, it can't be the same because at your job you have to pretend. That's your workplace.
You put your best.
That's someplace where you just. Yeah, you just making some money from them. You have to pretend. Most people, but at your, what's up, Carl? But in your relationship, you want to be able to be yourself, your real self. You want to be your real self. Come on, Carl. We talking about your real self versus your ideal self.
But I guess to what point is being your real self not putting in any effort into your relationship?
No, but see, that would be taking it overboard. I'm not saying to not put any effort. I'm saying that the effort should be genuine effort.
Oh, I see.
Does anybody know who know U.E. the God? Does anybody know him?
No, I don't. At least I don't think
Okay.
I do.
I'm sorry, U.E. I don't really let people up here I don't know for the first time. Maybe come back a couple more Thursdays and I'll let you in. It's always best to put your best foot forward first. Yes, when you are at your job. But when you are dating, I think we should start leading with our flaws. That will cut out so much bullshit. What you think, Cody?
You know damn well I'm gonna just stick to the black folks. You know damn well, and I said this the other night, vulnerability is more protected than our money and our children. So the idea of letting your flaws out first, hell no. Because that's like asking black women, yo, when you meet them, take your wig off, take your weave off, let me see what you really look like before we continue a date or anything else. You know they're not gonna do that. Same way with men. Take that fake beard off. They're not gonna do that.
That you, CK?
I don't know whose echo was that.
I think that's CK.
Oh,
He
what's up,
took it off.
CK?
Go ahead.
So, you know, for flaws to be up front is like I said, that's like asking some woman when you meet them, hey, how you doing? Da da da. Can I see you without your weave or without your wig on? I know we just met. They're not going to do that. Why? Because the flaws have to be protected because they're more worried about being accepted, not rejected, male and female. And that's why people are spending so much money and time trying not to look their age, which is older. That's why everybody with gray hair is doing that whole what they call that? What they call that? Dyeing their hair yellow and red and black and all of that. This is
Hey,
why
I still
people
got my
spend.
gray baby hairs. They gray right there.
Yeah, but if you look around, I'm looking at Jimmy Fallon show tonight, and you know goddamn well Tyler Perry. You know how old he is. He went up there on that show. His thing was jet black from one ear to the other. This is about afraid of getting older, afraid of showing your true appearance, afraid of people seeing you as your real self. People are very much afraid of that. Their vulnerability. It may
But
be because
it would
they're
cut
afraid
the
of you.
bullshit. It would cut months out. It would cut months of bullshit out if
No, it
people just
wouldn't.
led
No, it
with their
wouldn't.
flaws.
I'm
It
going to disagree
would.
with that. I'm going to disagree with
How?
that. Because guess what? If you focus more on appearance than mindset, you already lost before you began.
Can you guys hear
It's
me?
not about the appearance. I can put a nice 6'2"
I didn't
guy
say it had to
with
just be apparent.
listen. I could put a
It don't have to just
6'2"
be
guy.
apparent.
I could put a 6'2" guy with nice clothes on and even a good bank account. But his mindset is totally off than his image.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, what
Hey,
up, CK?
Brian, we can hear you. Go ahead.
I think I'll just leave my camera off. I think that helps.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I just what you were asking before for people to be more vulnerable and that would be better. First of all, dating for the average person, the average man, is already hard enough, and that's him putting on a facade. Now you're telling them to be vulnerable, and then also go out there and try to date. Like that's. Have you ever seen the 40-Year-Old Virgin? That's what
Yeah.
happens. That's exactly what happens if he tries to be his real self.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
So, and she
women,
still liked him, even though he was his real self, right?
yeah, that was a fairy tale. That's what that movie is. A
No,
fairy tale.
no. The person that you're supposed to be with will love your flaws and all.
But
The
okay,
person you're
so
supposed to be with will love all of that. Will be okay with that.
here's what you gotta understand. As a woman, you are very lucky to think that because no matter what, you're always gonna have a flock of guys coming to you in your happiest times and in your down, like the darkest times. There's always gonna be someone there to comfort you.
Exactly.
Okay. Men
Yep.
don't do that. Men do not like a man's life. The average person's life is so like women don't understand how lonely the average man's life can actually be. No one.
They don't experience rejection as much as men do. That's why they can't relate to what you're saying.
It's like unfathomable for most women because it's like you gotta understand the average person will just be happy if someone just talks to them.
Yeah.
Titanium said there are women who will dish you if your shoes are dirty. So showing the flaws early on. Always do your best. But I don't know. I feel like
It's a
if I'm
contradiction
gonna
because
spend, I think you
all
would
over this
save a
thing.
whole lot of money. I think men would save money on
No,
spending all this money on this woman, and come to find out she can't be with you because you leave the toilet seat up.
there's no way of saving
Like,
money when it comes to a woman. That's number one. Number two, it's very unlikely because all you hear a lot of black women say, if he got a job, if he got money, if he smell and look good, if he got a car, if he got his own place, I'm willing to work with that. But no, if you put up a bunch of homeless dudes with no money and no job, some chicks will give them some, but relationship, marriage, hell no.
Yeah, but okay, so okay, that's a great point, Paul. But what I'm still trying to point out is women can still get that. Even when they're being their real self, their fake self, doesn't matter what they're being. Women can do whatever the hell they want, and they will still get a man. Versus a man has to be something before a woman will pick him. Yes, you know what? I agree with you. He can be his real self. Things are still going to be lonelier, far lonelier that way, if anything.
well, I don't think so. I think that there are women like that woman in the 40-year-old version that like men with certain quirkiness and weirdoness and is okay with it. And if you just show that shit from the beginning and
Yeah,
get
but you
past the
forgot the
bullshit,
why. You forgot the why, though. See, it's one thing to say that. It's another to ignore the why they doing it. The majority of them, when you talking about chicks that's going after the nerd, the the kooky, quirky dude or whatever, it's because there's a means to an end. Because when she's looking at her hair, her nails, her education, her background, what she needs and wants, let's say he may be a nerd, but if I want some good sex, I'm gonna go back to the hood. You understand? We live in a world where a lot of people want their cake and eat it too. They want it all. They're not comfortable to just say, I'm going to deal with this nerd. He may have a small dick, but I love him to death because he earns $150,000 a year. No.
Okay.
She's going to cheat with him.
That's a low conscious person. That's a person who was working at low conscious relationship. She is just on, the physicalness of what this person can give me, the intent. What I'm trying to say is to elevate our relationships to a higher level of consciousness. Maybe we should start out with our flaws, because then that will cut out the bullshit and that will bring the motherfuckers that you're supposed to be with, because you are being your real self all the time.
I think it's important to point out that when we date, it's a game of odds. So, like, it sounds really nice to be like, okay, I'm just going to be 100% me with this person. I don't care what they say. But when you think that way and you think, okay, well, the odds that they will actually pick me if I'm 100% myself are so extremely low. Is that a risk that I'm willing to take? And I brought up the working thing because it's like it's normal for us to put our best effort at work, right? But not in our relationships. And the reason why I think you should be putting in more effort in a relationship. I'm not talking about, you know, wearing a weave and eyelashes and that stuff, but I'm saying trying your absolute hardest to be fully involved in that dating process, getting to know that person,
Hey,
and
Tasha.
just being on your best behavior, right? If you're not typically polite, be more polite on these dates. Learn some etiquette, learn these things, so you can be the absolute best candidate. Because the odds that they're going to find somebody better than you are pretty high, right? Especially if you're just laying out who you are and putting in, because for me, when I hear all your flaws, I'm just seeing absolute no effort. And people typically want to date somebody that shows that they're going to have some sort of growth, that they're going to be better later.
Have y'all ever noticed though, most people do more talking right after that first time having sex. It's like all of a sudden the guards are down, the comfortability is more suitable. They start talking about everything from 5 years old till now. That doesn't happen before the sex normally. You ever notice that? That's normally after, because you need the comfortability to say, okay, I'm going to tell you my flaws. I'm going to tell you that I've had 15 child services cases against me. I'm going to tell you that my hair is not real. I'm going to tell you about I got 3 babies. I mean, all the truth comes out after, not at the door, because you know at the door the person ain't going to want to have nothing to do with you. And this goes back to that fear of rejection, that vulnerability. Ain't nobody going to do that.
But eventually I'm going to be me, and then the person ain't going to want nothing to do with me. So why waste the time?
I still think
Why you think hotels make more money than anything else? Because the first thing a guy is going to say or a woman is going to say, let's go to a hotel. It's not because of no other reason than I don't want you to see my dirty house, my dirty tub, or how I really live. I don't want you to see the real me. I want you to stick to the representative.
Okay, and these are low vibrational relationships. These are relationships that are just, to me, that are just based on what I can get from somebody.
Fear.
Instead of what I can give or what
fear.
I can
all
learn
all of that is fear. All of that is attached to fear, because the fear of not being accepted, the fear of being rejected. And every black woman knows what it's like to walk out her house and not one man try to holler at you. Not one man is trying to get with you. That type of fear. To be between the ages of 25 and 40 and not one man try to holler at you when you step out your door, that's going to affect you.
I think also when you're dating someone, like, I think you mentioned that, well, I forgot exactly what you said, but you said this person, oh, sorry, I got a message. You said that they'll like you more if they see your flaws ahead of time, or you said something, Neek, about if they see your flaws early, how that makes them like you. Can you repeat what you said, your statement? Do you remember?
Because I think Clement was talking about the 40-year-old virgin, and we were talking about that movie, and even though he eventually, even though they tried to change him, every time they tried to change him, his normal self came out. Like his normal geeky self always ended up coming out. And she still liked him. Even though he tried to put on the facade, he tried to act like he didn't have any flaws. He tried to, not have all the toys in his house so she wouldn't see. He tried to do all this to hide who he really was, but then it ended up coming out and she still liked him. So this is what I'm trying to say. Like, if you just be you, I'm not saying that you shouldn't put no effort into yourself. Like, I think like the effort should be genuine and it should be internal. It should be something that, hey, I see somebody that I like, so I think I want to buy this and I want to wear this and I want to be this for them. That's internal. So then you start to try to change to try to want to fit into this person's life. So that's genuine intent. But when you are doing it because you're just trying to get the draws, so you just pretending to be interested in this, and you just pretending to like this, so you just portraying that part. You know what I'm saying? You're not being your real self.
Well, then you're
And then
talking
you're just
about a
wasting my
two-way street.
time. You're wasting your time. It's just like,
No, you got to be fair. It can't be just a one-way street because you're talking about men and women.
Yep.
So just like you're talking about a man, come straight up, be real, be honest, and let your flaws out, and don't be hiding nothing. The woman have to do the same thing. That means take the weave off, take the wig off, you know, tell the man everything, and don't be holding back because you worried he's not going to accept you.
Well, I
you
think
can't say
what you're
I
saying
must
is-
not give a fuck because I don't be giving a fuck.
I think what you're saying is different. So like it's not, so you're saying the bits of your personality that could be seen as flawed, you should show up front, right? So if you're a little bit quirky, you shouldn't try and hide that. If that's natural.
Oh, so if you normally dig up your nose in private, dig up your nose in front of us.
That would fall more like etiquette. That's not like personality. So now I see what you're saying, Nick. I think, yes, like those things make you unique, and you shouldn't try to change those things in order to get into a relationship, because yes, those things will eventually come out and they're a part of who you are, right? Maybe you're goofy because your father was, and you know, your upbringing or whatever. Like there are certain things about you that, like your actual personality that you should always keep on the
So
table.
you say etiquette is the only thing that you should hold back. Like you wait till after you're in a relationship and time pass before you pop a fart right in front of her, right?
I think
I'm-
I think it's just we play the. So I understand what you're saying, unique, and I think most of the time women want attention and really just companionship from a man, and men just sex. Well, initially you just want sex from a woman. So we're both trying to get what we want from each other. But most of the time, women aren't just giving sex to just any guy. So guys are putting on a facade to try to get sex.
Now it becomes an auction.
Yeah, because guys are good pretenders. They are good actors.
I mean,
they can.
Wait a minute. What is this, Bass Day?
Listen,
Women are too. What the hell?
Women are too, because women are going to play up and lead the guy like, oh yeah, you know, you're that guy that I want, da 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 da. But you're never ever gonna sleep with him.
How many women went in a bar and drank up a tab on another man's dime, and by the end of the night, when he's looking for, yo, it's that time of the month, or I got a man at home or whatever, but you didn't say that 15 tequilas ago. Come on now.
Or foodie dates.
Come on. You just came out to eat because you don't feel like doing dishes. You didn't get your EBT this month, whatever the case may be. So you call Charlie. You know he's going to take you to Red Lobster or whatever. You eat for free. You order a little extra so you can have something to take to work the next day or give to the kids, whatever. I mean, come on. This has been in the black culture for the longest.
Disingenuous. Both sides are disingenuous.
Yeah.
Right? That's just it.
I mean, that's how people is dating these days. If they just, because they want a meal, they're going to go out with somebody even though they don't like that person.
It's 25 to 55. This is no bounds when it comes to black women.
Why you gotta say black women? Any woman would do that.
I can't say for the other ethnic groups because I don't deal with those, but I can say generally from what I've seen, I see it frequently because I see also and hear the conversations. Girl, I got over the other night. You should try it. Okay, and I'm gonna try it.
But they're not the only one. That's what I'm trying to say. White women get over too and do that money shit. You mean they mainly about the money? Niggas, they be having life insurances and killing niggas for money.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway,
That's
let
true.
me get off. Don't just be.
I'm just trying to keep it equalized in the sense
All
that,
right, so
and you
you
know,
can just say women, man. Just
okay,
say women.
Nah, but I truly believe that it's. I understand what you mean by the showing your flaws, and yes, to some extent, I think a man has to accept his flaws and move that way. I don't think he should show it. I think he should accept his own flaws himself.
hmm
Hmm.
Women can come. So the thing is, when dating, men are looking to qualify a woman to sleep with her. Women are looking to disqualify a man.
mm
Like women are looking for anything to say, he doesn't clean his shoes very well. I can't.
okay,
My
yeah,
Hmm.
don't like him. I can't.
mm
Like he paid the tab, but he didn't leave too high of a tip, so
right.
I don't like him. Like women are
It
looking
could
to
be,
do
it could be anything petty.
anything to disqualify.
mm mm
Versus we're like, she's fat, but not too fat. I could deal with the lights off. It's all right.
But the reason why
Like,
we can't
But
get together, I want to say something. Your truth is filtered through what you have been through. This is what I was talking about earlier. Your ideal self, your real self.
okay.
You go through trauma, like I was talking about earlier. You go through trauma. You have a man who beats on you, who doesn't like their mother, so you come up with the idea, the stupid filter of, hey, I'm not messing with no man who don't like their mama. Then you go and you just zero in on people who do. Like that's the
And
only
then,
thing I'm
they,
doing. Like
and
you
then they
just
whip
do
your
that
ass, and now
dumbass
you,
filter.
they whip your ass
So
now.
you
Now
have
you're
to
like, what the fuck?
realize that when you are picking people for certain reasons, what trauma have you been through before you started picking that person? What trauma have you been through first? What filter are you looking at them through first
Convenient,
before you decide that you want to be with this person?
Mhm.
Because
convenient.
everything that they are, they're just showing you about yourself.
hmm
This is what I have read in a book called The Relationship Dismount. How to exit a toxic relationship. How to stick the landing while exiting a toxic relationship.
Uh,
Zoe Williams, YouTube. Go check him out.
Oh,
So he's on a radio station called KBLA, which is Tavis Smiley, a black-owned radio station in California, the second one.
okay.
And he's on there from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time. So go watch him. This is where I got the show idea from. He did this show yesterday, The Real Self versus the Ideal Self. All
I
props
mean,
to Zoe Williams.
it's a definitely good question, good topic. Don't get me wrong,
mhm.
but we also should understand the real self is the most protected self than the ideal self, because the ideal self is what people develop, create, and put out there and put more effort on, because that is what people see, and
Mhm.
that's the whole concept. I have to be accepted, I have to be liked, I have to be wanted and needed. That's both men and women.
Mhm.
The real self, oh man, can we wait till afterwards and then I can slowly ease it in, and now you don't have a choice because you already got used to me, and why start all over again? And I'm past the probationary period. Now I can act an ass. Now I can show my true self, because I question a lot of dudes. You've been in a relationship for a year with this woman and you still never seen her without her makeup, without her weave? What? That's
That's
crazy to
crazy.
me. But it's
That's
happening.
crazy. How you be with somebody for a year and they ain't never seen what your real hair look like?
Because people, like I said, men and women alike, they
Yo,
are
that don't
very
even make
guarded.
sense.
They're very guarded of their real self. their vulnerability. They're very guarded with that. Nobody wants to
Shit,
be
I done been
seen.
on IG with just my little curly afro on this motherfucker. Everybody done seen my real self. Okay?
It's the
So,
comfort level. It's the comfort level. You see what I'm saying? That you're at a level in life where I got it. So I don't need to be fishing no more.
Yeah, that's true.
You understand what I'm saying? Where the person out there still fishing, man, they well guarded like Fort Knox when it comes to their fault, their real self and all their flaws. Because they know damn well half the men that they choose and want ain't gonna want to have nothing to do with them if that was on the forefront. Come on.
but it's not
False
like they're
teeth.
not gonna find it out.
You know when a woman lets a man know she has false teeth?
When she
When
get about to give him head.
exactly. But that's not on the first night though, or the first week. That's down the line. You get what I'm saying? We have to.
How? Don't you gotta take the teeth out and put it next to her? You would know that she ain't had no teeth.
Mm-mm. Remember, when you get in with people, there's a lot of things that you're not paying attention to because it's not significant. But after a while, you'll be like, it's like learning somebody's habits, right? Every night when he comes in, he always washes his hands. He always says his prayers, and then he comes in bed. This particular night, though, he did something different. So the antennas are up. When you first meet somebody, the antennas are not all the way up like that because you're still trying to know their habits. But anything goes at that point.
Well,
You don't know if they smoke a lot or
CK,
smoke a little.
you came back. Let's see if we can hear him. CK, can we hear you?
You hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. You didn't hear me this whole time?
No.
Oh, damn. Okay. Sorry, I was just starting my air fryer. Give me a second. All right.
Go ahead.
Dang, I lost my
I
train of
wish
thought.
I had a cigarette.
Well, I lost my train of thought, to be honest with you.
Oh, it's okay.
But I guess
No problem. Listen.
men, and the long story short, I agree to an extent that men should be their real selves, but not put so much stock on what women are going to think about their real selves. That's what I would say. Because naturally men are going to face a lot of rejection in life, and that's not necessarily women. That's not necessarily a rejection on who they are as a person. That's a rejection on how the woman was feeling in that moment. Because they'll reject a man that they really like in that moment because they just weren't feeling good. They didn't feel the vibes or whatever, you know? Random thing. So I agree that men should be their real selves, but they should accept who they are.
And then
They should accept
sometimes, I'm sorry, let me ask one question. So sometimes when you in a marriage or you in a long-term relationship, people will do things like, well, this ain't who I thought it was. Because of that representative in the beginning, because of that front in the beginning, because of that ideal person that you put off to the person you was with, and then they with you and they married you and they been with you for a while and they're like, what the hell? I thought this nigga was like this, but he really like this.
Is that what you thought, or is that what you wanted it to believe? Because a lot of times we are surprised by the person's actions or what they say or do based upon, it's not a news flash for them, it's a news flash for you because of what you wanted to believe that they were.
Good point. Good point.
He was always a liar. You just kept feeding all the, how you say, all the potholes to justify, but he was always a liar. You just didn't want to see that. Everybody else saw it. You just didn't want to accept that. You wanted to see him as an honest, straight up guy.
Fact.
I wanted to see him as a guy with money, but he kept asking you for money.
So she sees the ideal person is somebody who's giving her money, but in reality, she the one giving him money.
Yeah. She's footing the bills all the time. She's always coming out of pocket. I like to take care of my man. No, you don't. You don't have a choice because you never have anything. And you know that, but you're putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound until you get tired of it. Then it's like, okay, you know what?
All men are that way.
I guess what makes it complicated is how do you, so going back to like the flaws and leading with your real self, how can you lead with your flaws if you don't know what could be seen as flawed to the other person?
Ooh,
That's a damn good point.
So it's like for one person who's like very, I don't know, like let's say, like I have a speech impediment, for example. For one person, they're like, I'm giving speeches all the time. I want to run for politics. My wife cannot have a speech impediment. But someone else might see it as cute and adorable. And, you know, so it's like, what do you lead with? Like, how can you lead with flaws that you don't know?
That would be something that you would have eventually somebody would see.
Well, the idea,
that's the type of flaw somebody would see if you had a speech impediment. That's not something you can hide.
Yeah, but like,
she just said it. One might find it cute, and the other one might find it annoying.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the
like everyone has flaws that they don't know are flaws until someone points it out.
I watch anime. A girl might like that, and another might see it as a flaw.
Exactly. Right. So you're gonna like sit down and go through each of the things about yourself that you know of, categorize it as a potential flaw or not. Like, can that become more complicated over time?
Now this is what's pushing.
You can't do that.
No, she brought up a good point.
You just got to be your real self.
You just answered the question though, because you run across so many people in your lifetime pointing out your flaws, you lose yourself because now you're trying to figure out how to please.
Yeah, accommodate for every single person.
Exactly.
It's insane. You know, you're not gonna know who you are.
You're gonna lose yourself.
Which that's why I say unique does have a point to an extent. To an extent. Yes. To an extent. Okay, calm down. I think you're right, which is everyone should be themselves. But I think you should be your honest self to yourself, not for that other person. That other person doesn't matter. Like you move how you would like to. If you're not sure if she's gonna like anime or not, you want to watch anime, turn on anime. If she says, "Oh, what's this?" "Oh yeah, I like watching this. That's anime." She says, "Oh wow, like that's childish." "Oh well, okay, that's cool. This is what I like watching." Or they could say, "Oh, I've never watched this before. What's it about?" Who knows? Who cares? But you know that's what you like to do. That's what you inherently like to do.
I mean, but that's a small. I mean, that's like a small thing. What about?
But you never know. Smoking.
What about things like what I was talking about? Like, you know what? You can't even raise your voice to me a little bit because I've been through some shit. And if you raise your voice, that's going to trigger me to act this way, so you can't do that. How come you can't lead with those things in the beginning?
That's you imposing your trauma on
No, I'm just saying. Yeah. Why can't you let them know of all these things that you probably going to end up demanding later on? Why can't you tell them that in the beginning?
Because you know what you're doing now? You are revealing your real self, and now the person has to be the ideal self, not to trigger you to be, the opposite. You're training them now not to be them real self, because guess what? I'm loud. But because I care, I have to now be the ideal self in order to deal with the real self,
Or
which is you.
Or you could be giving them an opportunity to walk away right there and then,
Mm-hmm.
so that they don't want it. Like, all right, this is who I am. You're going to have to learn to, lower your voice when you talk to me, because I've had some trauma in the past. That's not you, but you're gonna have to deal with it.
And
Like,
I
yeah,
agree
that's
with you on
something you
that.
should like I said those things in the beginning of my relationship.
Really?
Those are the type of things I said. I said, if you talk to me in this type of way, if you're too loud, then I'm probably gonna be triggered because
Mm-hmm.
that's what he did. If you say no to this, or if you
Right,
just certain things, I used
right.
to be like, just go off because being triggered from something else. Now, I said that in the beginning, but nobody can really understand it until they go through it. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? You can
Mm-hmm.
say those things, but I feel like this is something you should really warn somebody about. Like, people, but I think he kind of brushed it off, like she probably just exaggerating. And I say, yeah, I suffer from depression. I have a therapist. Like, I got
Because
problems.
Did
sometimes,
you know?
we think women are dramatic.
Did you say this the first time you met them, or did you already know them?
I mean, it was probably within the first month.
So they had at this point already shown interest in you, like you were already
Yeah.
pretty. So I guess that matters too. Like, it takes men time to actually have interest in a woman beyond just sexual, and so a woman wouldn't say that on the first date or the second
Yeah,
date.
it was before it was sexual. It was before
Yeah.
all of that.
So I think timing matters. So that's just being vulnerable,
Right. Yeah.
which does take time. But you didn't. I think so. The next thing to define is, what does upfront mean? Like, when do you start being more vulnerable? That looks different for everybody, but I think that makes a
Well,
really big difference. You're probably not
Oh,
going to be that
I'll,
level
I'll be right back.
vulnerable on your first date. But after about a month or two, I think that's a pretty healthy amount of vulnerability, especially if they already know about whatever trauma you have. Then you're just expressing some boundaries that you have, which is important, if you're going to build a relationship with somebody. But that's my final thoughts. I have to go to bed. I wrapped up work.
Yes.
oh,
I have to go for the night.
I gotta
But
go.
this was
Thank
a
you,
really
oh,
guys.
good.
Yes. I mean, it's almost 12 o'clock anyway,
Yeah.
and we got
oh.
about,
Right.
what is it, 4 more minutes to midnight. I'm going to cut it off at midnight.
Well,
Okay.
I just want to stipulate to what she just said that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times too,
Then,
from a
then
male, from a,
good night.
all right,
Yeah, let,
brother.
let them plug themselves and let them go. Watch,
All right.
watch CKQ and what?
Chris, you could go.
Oh, yeah, so you can find me. I have an Instagram, obviously, The Blooming Ebony, and then also you can find me on Instagram at The Blooming Ebony. I haven't made content in a while, as I'm in busy season at the moment, but when I come back from busy season, we'll be doing a lot of book reviews, talking about how to become your ideal self, how to become a better woman, and hopefully we can go on that journey together. So, yeah, thank you so much, Nick, for having this. This was a really good topic. I remember doing a lot of this introspection before I started dating, and it really did help me. So yeah, I hope you guys have a beautiful night and always stay
Thank
in
you.
bloom. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us. You
Thank
too. Have a
you.
good night.
Oh.
Good night.
All right. You guys could find me at CKQ Podcast on YouTube, where we go live every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Everyone that was on here is essentially on there as well. We got our cameras, we got good lighting, and
Yay.
yeah, we talk
And
about,
sound effects.
well, and sound effects, a little memes sometimes too. We all, except Carl, have good lighting.
Yes, I'm trying.
But yeah, we have similar conversations like this. Not well, Unique's always has some very good
This
conversations.
is the best one I've ever seen.
But we have very great conversations on there. So if you like, come check it out. We always invite people up on the panel as well, different people, and pretty soon we're gonna start having different hosts with different bows. So come join the chat on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and you guys have a great night. Thanks again for having me up, Unique.
Thank you,
Hey, see you
Kevin.
Tuesday.
All right. Good night. Good night, Carl.
All right, brother.
Well, so
I wasn't gonna take up too much time. I just wanted to point it out that a lot of times too, from a male perspective, that we feel, male and female, not even just from a male perspective, we feel that regardless of what is the flaws or what is the trigger or whatever, we feel that our presence or our presence will change that or alter that. Like you said, your trigger. Well, maybe if I stick around, maybe I can change that. Maybe I can, solve that. And that's not the truth all the time. And it's the same thing, if you ever heard me say, a lot of women think that they can turn a gay man straight or turn turn a criminal to a straight life. You get what I'm saying? Like, I can be the one. And we all think we can be for the most part. And sometimes it fails, sometimes it succeeds. So that plays a part in what you were saying about, telling someone, within a month or so, this is what the deal is with your flaws or what your issue is. But they stuck around. So they may feel that they can change it or comforts it or you know what I'm saying? As opposed to just say, yo, man, this is too much for me. I'm just going to stop.
Captain Save-A-Ho syndrome, like
Right. And women do too. So that's why I'm saying that could be a possibility as well. Because it's in all of us. Where we want to try to help.
A lot of times it's that more than really caring about that person. I feel like you feel like I feel sorry for this person and I'm the only one who could help this person. And some men feel like that because of whatever they've been through in their childhood.
Some of us have that innate ability to always want to help or always want to be the savior. Maybe it's for blessings. Maybe it's for karma. Who knows? You understand? I've been overprotective of women all my life. But that doesn't mean that a woman can run over me because I know how to shut down in a minute and say no and leave them right there on the highway. You get what I'm saying? So it's up to the individual how much they're willing to take, how much they're willing to sign up for. And then at one point, do they say enough is enough? Or they say, okay, you know what? I'm going to stick into it for the long haul because I already invested. It depends.
And it is 12:01, and I think maybe we should move to the next show of next Thursday of what you just said at the end. Maybe we should make that the show, what you just said.
Yeah, sure. I like a part 2 to this because this is very much the best topic I've ever seen on Instagram yet. Real self versus ideal self, because a lot of people are moving with
this idea from Zoe Williams, y'all.
No, you got to do a part 2. You got to do a part 2 because it goes to the core of not just dating, but self help. You know what I'm saying? Looking in the mirror more, and a lot of people ain't looking in the mirror long enough.
Yes, being your real self and not just your ideal self. So thanks for joining me next Thursday, 10 p.m. or 10:15, between those times. I will be on here. Go check me out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Have a good night. Peace out. Thank you, Carl.
Later. No problem.
Peace.